Hare Krishna, Namaste. I hope you all are doing well. Thanks for tuning in today. Today I wanted to address a serious topic. It's getting lost in the sauce of rote religiosity. Doesn't that sound kind of funny? I thought that would make a nice title. Um, but it's true. It sounds funny, but it's really true. A lot of people, most people, I would say, on the religious path or religious people, um, and myself included, a lot of us get really self-deluded, and we think that religion or spirituality just consists of, a special or a certain affinity towards a particular form of divinity. For example, oh, I like Jesus, therefore I'm a Christian. I like Krishna, therefore I'm a Hindu. I like the Buddha, therefore I'm a Buddhist. And then in addition to that, there's things you do and you don't do. There are particular activities that you specifically engage in, and there are certain activities that you specifically abstain from. And a lot of people, that is like the end of religious life. That is the end of spiritual life. That is the end of their whole conception of what it means to be spiritual or religious. I like this deity and I do this and I do not do that. Well, you know, we shouldn't be shaming anybody on the religious path for where they are. We should be able to help them wherever they are. But that's a very self-limiting sort of way of looking at spirituality and religion. And that's why I wanted to address it today. Because many times when we get caught up in thinking, that, oh, I'm being spiritual, I'm being religious, I'm being a good person just because I do A, B, and C and I don't do A, B, and C over here. Like I chant these mantras and this is my guru and I got this initiation and I'm a vegan and so and so, and then I don't have sex and I don't have alcohol and I abstain from, I don't even go to the movie theaters and watch secular entertainment. People get really caught up in these things, and there are legitimate means and tools and methods, spiritual means and methods and tools that we can use to liberate us and expand our consciousness and our perception. But when we get caught up in the rote religiosity of it and we're obsessed with like the rules and the regulations, and we start like missing the point, then those means of liberation, they actually become a means of bondage and entanglement. And they further habituate and reinforce, or they can habituate and reinforce further your own self-deceptions. And that's the complete opposite of like the goal of spirituality, to know thyself, to know God, to love God, and all of these things. We don't need to be further entangling ourselves or making ourselves, deceiving ourselves, making ourselves more blind. No. That's not the way of doing spirituality. So there's a few stories I wanted to share to kind of elucidate this point. First one is a clip from a Bruce Lee movie, and he's teaching his student, and actually I think this story actually comes from a Buddha Sutra. But anyways, Bruce Lee is teaching his student, and there's a moment where he's saying it's like a finger is pointing to the moon. The moon is the object. It's pointing to the moon. That's what I want you to focus on, the moon. But if you get caught up in the finger itself and you concentrate on the finger, then you miss out on the heavenly glory and the majesty that is the moon. And a lot of us, religious people, spiritual people, we're so obsessed with, is it a male finger that's pointing to the moon? Is it a female finger? Is it an old one? Is it a young one? Does that finger belong to a monk? Is the hand, does it have nice gold jewelry on it, or does it have tattoos on it? Is it hairy? Is it old and wrinkly? No, absolutely none of that matters. The hand is pointing to the moon. The moon is the subject. It doesn't matter, the way that the hand is appearing, the way that it is pointing, if it's pointing this way or that way, or if it's an old person and they're shaking, it's pointing all to the same thing, to the moon. That also reminds me of a story of Adi Shankaracharya. So some of, my Hindu people, you'll know this, but so there's this great sage, this great teacher, one of the greatest in India. In fact, he was an incarnation of Lord Shiva himself. His name was Adi Shankaracharya. he was something else. You should go look up about him and listen to some lectures and movies and read and all of the things, because he's one of the most amazing people to ever walk India in the last several thousand years. Anyways, so Shankaracharya was on his way to this holy city with his disciples following him and everything. And along the way, there's this really old man. And we're talking like old, like twilight years, like in his last days old. Okay, he's really old. And this poor old man is just sitting to himself in his twilight years, and he's reciting in a rote way, meaning like he's not even present with it. It's like a little kid that's like learning memorizing their the multiplication tables. He's going over Panini's Sanskrit grammar. He's just repeating these grammar rules over and over, and he's not even doing it like in the present moment. It's in a rote way, you know. So he's just doing it to do it. So Adi Shankaracharya sees this, and he's just like, my dude, like, you are old. You are in your last days. Like, get with the program. Like, in fact, like on the spot, he composes this really beautiful song. It's called the Bhaja Govindam. Means worship Krishna, worship Govinda. All of my Hindus know this, but yeah, so it's this beautiful song, this beautiful poem. And yeah, he's so inspired on the spot. He composes this song, elucidating all about this poor old man wasting his time in the rote religiosity, just chanting his grammar rules. And the song has it, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate, San Prapte Sannihite Kali, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrankarine. I think that's how it goes anyways. But it's like, worship Govinda, worship Krishna, you fool. You need to worship and seek Krishna. When the moment of death comes for you, your grammar rules aren't going to save you. So he's like pleading with him to like get the point. Like, you're so focused on the finger and not the moon. You're so focused on the method or the means, and like you're beside the point. This isn't to say Adi Shankaracharya was like putting down Sanskrit or saying don't study, your grammar rules. It's just saying like, don't miss the point, especially when life is very fleeting. Life can, or death, life is fleeting. Death can come for us at any moment. None of us are guaranteed a long life. The only thing we're guaranteed, in fact, is death. We just don't know when it's going to come. So don't waste your time. Use your methods wisely. Use your means wisely. But don't get so caught up in it that you get lost in the sauce, as it is, and you completely miss the point. And that leads me to my third story that I was reminded of. And that's the story in Srimad Bhagavatam where Krishna is a little boy and he's with his little cowherd friends, and they get really hungry. They're out in the forest and they're taking care of the cows and everything. And the little boy friends come up to Krishna and they're like, Krishna, we're really hungry. You need to do something about it, because we're like, the pangs of hunger are making us suffer so bad, do something about it. So Krishna, so many things were going on simultaneously. So in Krishna's wisdom, he knew, like, oh, this is a great learning opportunity for lots of people involved here. So he was like, okay, friends, what you need to do is you need to go into town and you need to go find the Brahmin's home. And there is this group of the Brahmins, or the priests, and they're doing a very elaborate ceremony. They're very caught up in this great fire ceremony, this Angiras Havan or Yajna, this ceremony this ritual to attain, the heavens in a very, very, very high birth. You should go there and you should announce, hey, Brahmins, you great guys, you're like so involved in like auspicious activities and stuff. We come in the name of Krishna and Balaram. Balaram is Krishna's brother. And you tell them, you come in my name and you ask for some food, and then report back to me. So his little friends go off, and they see there the priest, and they're all around this great, beautiful fire ceremony, and it's so decorated so nicely, and the priests are all there swaha into the fire, offering the flowers and the sacred herbs and the auspicious mantras and all of the things. And they get to a break point, and the boys very respectfully offer their obeisances to the Brahmins, and they say, their spiel, hey Brahmins, you guys are so great and all of this. We come in the name of Krishna and Balaram, and we're so hungry. And he said to come ask for some food from you guys, and that you would give it to us, because you guys are so learned and so great and so auspicious and engaged in great righteous dharmic activities. Well, the priest, they didn't even give a yes. They didn't even give a no. They completely ignored the kids. That's what the scriptures say. They didn't even get a yes or a no. So the young boys, they felt, kind of confused, a little rejected. So they went back to Krishna. And they explained to Krishna what happened. Krishna knew what was going to happen anyway. So he had a little smirk on his face, and he laughed, and he said, okay, all right. Well, this time I want you to do the same thing, but instead of going to the Brahmanas, who are engaged in all of their, great pursuit of heaven and all of this, instead of going to the Brahmanas, you're going to go to the wives of the Brahmanas and say the same thing. Hey, wives of the Brahmanas, you are so great. You're so engaged in, dharmic and auspicious activities, you great godly ladies. We coming in the name of Krishna and Balaram, and we're all so hungry. Please feed us. And the wives of the Brahmanas were quite simple. They didn't know all of these great mantras and all of these great rituals and tantras, and they didn't have all of these great initiations. But what they did know is that there was something very, very special about Krishna and Balaram. There was something very special about those kids. In all of the religions and the spiritual traditions across the world, like wherever great saints are born, wherever gods and goddesses are born, like a lot of times they're not recognized as their own people, right? They're ridiculed by their own people. People can't recognize their own saints from their own lineage. They have to be from far away to be a holy person. So, there were enough experiences in Vrindavan up to this point where, even from the moment of Krishna's birth, he was doing miracles. So everybody knew either Krishna, he must be some saint, or maybe in some past life he was some great rishi or something. But some people didn't know, like, oh God, literally, like, Krishna is God. He's a supreme personality of Godhead. He isn't even just like God of this or God of that, or this archetype, that archetype. He is the supreme personality of Godhead that encompasses all archetypes, all gods, all goddesses, all cosmic manifestations in the multiverse. Like, it is within that Krishna. So I'm not saying that the wives of the Brahmanas knew all of that, but they loved Krishna, and they loved him intensely, and they didn't need him to be God and the supreme personality of Godhead and all of these things. They didn't need him to be a great saint or a god for them to love him. They just loved him. They loved him so great, fervently, intensely, and authentically and purely. So none of the Brahmanas' wives could bear to know that, like, well, they were soft-hearted, so they're going to feed any kids anyways. But especially if it's like these great saintly, beautiful, godly, divine, like angel babies of like of Krishna and Balaram. So they got all of their good foods together, lovely offerings, the best of the best, to go feed Krishna and Balaram and his little friends. And they just had like the most lovely, great little picnic. And it so happened that the Brahmanas found out about this, and some of them had enough insight, and things started to click to them in their heads, and they had the realization like, oh, wait, hold on. I think we just like had a great opportunity to like know and serve like God himself here, and he came before us in the midst of our like ritual to attain heaven. God himself came before us, and we just like ignored his friends, and we just let him go hungry. And the Brahmanas, the priests, start realizing like, oh dear, we made a grave mistake. Like, our wives are right. Like we missed the divinity of Krishna, and we missed out a great opportunity. We were too caught up in our rituals. We were too caught up in our regulations. And in the scriptures, it says that all of these things, anyways, like the right place, the right time, the right rituals, having the right people to do the right rituals, the auspicious benefits and merit and fruit from the rituals. All of these things are but superficial manifestations of like Krishna's opulences, you know. So they're caught up in all of this extra little stuff that it doesn't even matter when the Krishna is like right here in front. So what did the Brahmanas say? They say, to hell with our pujas, to hell with our fire ceremonies, to hell with all of our rules and our regulations, to hell with our studies of the Vedas and all of the Sanskrit literatures and the rules and the grammar rules and the this and the that, and to hell with doing things at the right time, at the right place, with the right people, with the right ingredients. To hell with all of it. We condemn our very selves because we have not realized Krishna. We missed the point. We got caught up. We got lost in the sauce of the rote religiosity. God himself can present himself in front of us, and we're too busy chanting our mantras. We're too busy doing our rituals. We're too busy observing ritual purity. We're too busy being sattvic and following the rules and regulations and being self-righteous and high and mighty and better than everybody else. Meanwhile, God himself comes to us in so many forms, in so many manifestations, in so many different guises. And we miss it. Every day, there are miracles. Every day, angels and gods and goddesses try so hard to reach us, to help us. And we're like so lost in the sauce. So, and again, those very means for liberation, those very means for attaining heaven, those become tools of self-deception and bondage. So don't be like the Brahmanas, or at least be like the Brahmanas after their realization. You can do your rituals and your pujas and all of your chanting and all of that very nicely with the remembering of what it's all about. The bhakti, the Krishna, God, divinity, not about becoming so puffed up and validating our own context and ideas about what it means to be a spiritual person, what it means to be a religious person, what it means to be a devotee. Like, we get so lost in these things that we miss the point, which is the divinity and the God, the Krishna itself. So, okay, I think that's basically it. I think that wraps it up. Yeah, I hope that all makes sense to you all. And yeah, so take care, and I'll talk to you later. Jai Shri Krishna.